Hey, welcome back, sports fans. One more week of us, and maybe more to come. Who knows? But yes, this is episode number 8. This is Sports, of course. This week on the show, we've got NFL welcomes back several quarterbacks. A couple others get benched, and several more have us scratching our heads. This week is a quarterback-heavy episode of Sports, of course. You can find us anywhere you listen to your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, all the good ones. We are also can be found on Instagram and Twitter, and of course, our dedicated YouTube channel. Just go to any of those and search Sports, of course, with Jonah and RPF, and we are sure to pop up. I am one of your hosts, Jonah, and with me, as always, is RPF, smiling on the other side. His Dolphins did pull off the win. Narrowly, but did pull off the win. I, however, am faking a huge frown right now for my awful display of Patriots performance last night. Other than that, RPF, I haven't seen you in a week. How you been?
I've been better now because, as you mentioned, Tua's back. The world is a little bit better now because the Dolphins are back to their winning ways. And breaking news to us right now is Adidas finally dropped Yay. So all is a little bit better with all is a little bit better with the world. I will say though that we are a quarterback heavy podcast because we're NFL heavy podcast and NFL is obsessed with quarterbacks. So when are we not a quarterback heavy podcast? I mean, I don't understand that premise, but yeah.
Right. I guess it's just we do. I mean, ironically, here in week 8 we do have a ton, like the storyline.
QB crossroads today.
Yeah, tons of crossroads coming. 3 QBs come back from injury. Major QBs come back from injury. 2 major QBs get benched. 3 other major QBs are just awful. Like it's.
So. And a lot of people are like saying, "Where are we with the QB sitch?" I mean, there are very few. I mean, think about it. If we'll get into it, but if Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady are part of the discussion we're having, nothing's stable in the NFL world for quarterbacks right now in 2022. So it's very interesting.
Yeah. It's very interesting.
Tragic for a lot of fans. But.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, hey, without teasing it too much more, let's get into the first one. Let's get into Dak. Let's get into Dak, Tua, and Mac all returned for their respective teams. RPF, how do you think they did?
I think, the actual mystery was Dak and Mac. They raised more questions than answers with their return. I think Dak was, again, week 1 Dak for a while in the game. I did a very concerted effort of flipping around 15 times during the games, and Dak, every time I saw him, man, he was like, It was like a little bit like, I've been watching Russell Wilson, and I think he does it right. It was a very weird Dak Prescott to me. They have more weapons, and they're more balanced, and they have better coaching, I think, in the Cowboys. So I think they were able to persevere ultimately. Yep. Dak kind of woke up and said, "Oh my God, I'm Dak Prescott. Get over this." So that was good, and the running game was balanced. So I think that way, Mac wasn't given the same grace, shall we say? I think Mac Jones. I mean, yeah, he had a boneheaded first quarter, but I don't know. I think they're pulling the hook came too early for someone like Mac Jones that has such upside. But on the flip side of the equation was Tua, as I suspected, and I've been crowing about to our millions of fans, that Tua was and remains the top-rated quarterback just by QBR in the NFL, and that didn't change. That first quarter of the football game against the Steelers on national television was a master class in how the Dolphins should be playing constantly, right? I mean, the fact that they didn't do anything close to that for the rest of the game and hung on for dear life it's a different discussion for a different day. But Tua did show his rust with at least three really kind of bad decisions in the pocket to throw the ball that were nearly intercepted. He had 2 other plays that he ran the ball, which I literally held my breath to the point where I was like screaming at the TV set not to run because of his history with concussions. But the point is, ultimately, this is the 4th game he starts and finishes. This is the 4th game the Dolphins win. So that's what it's all about. It's a team sport. A W is a W. An ugly win is a win. Even the 72 season of the Dolphins that we celebrated 50th anniversary that game. A lot of those games, if you look back into that year, won by 1 point, by 4 points. It was like grinding out football. So it's not perfection. For us, this year's Dolphins, it's about Tua being healthy and upright and be able to get the W. So that's where we are.
Yeah, I'm I think a couple different takes. I think that are opposed to yours. I think,
but mine are correct. I just want to make sure. Want to make sure that everyone understands that.
We all know how factual you are, RPF.
Excuse me.
You speak in facts.
Yeah. I think you had the Steelers in the Super Bowl, but anyway.
No.
They did.
No, but I did not have the Dolphins. I can tell you that much.
Well, time will tell.
Yeah, time will tell. Imagine if you had taken that bet way back when.
Two words. Phillies are in the World Series, but we'll get to that. I know.
Anyway, so I think there's a lot of silver lining in the Dallas Cowboys situation. Yes. Did Dak to me not look like the Dak that we know? Yes, but I think that's better for the team as a whole, because I think what they did was with Cooper Rush, they kind of realized that they had to change some things, and they got back to like fundamental football and like just, hey, let's win games. Don't worry about stats and
listen. That's what I was saying. I think Dak now has to adjust to the team versus the other way around.
Right. And so, but I think the silver lining is what you're going to get is so now you have the same essentially offense run by Cooper Rush, but with Dak Prescott. And the advantage that Dak Prescott gives you over Cooper Rush is if you find yourself in a bind, you're much more confident to go, Dak, we need your help, man. And he can.
100%. I agree with it. I mean, I don't think that's different than what I was trying to say. Maybe I didn't say it correctly, but I think that's exactly right. That's why I think Dak has a great. Dallas, it looks really good to me because when Dak gets to the same understanding of the team's not going to rally around a better athlete than Cooper Rush. Right?
Yeah.
So that's going to be Dak's a better quarterback. So that's going to be a very formidable team going forward, I think.
Yeah. And then I'll save Mac Jones for last just because that's my avenue. So, Tua,
yeah.
Tua to me, this weekend was just kind of, it was fine.
Did you see the first quarter?
No.
See, that's key. See, if you didn't see the first quarter,
no, I did see the first quarter. I didn't see the first. I didn't see
the 3 straight drives that we scored points.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. That's Tua. That's Tua with Waddle down the field for 30 yards and finding, Tyreek.
So why didn't it continue though?
Because it didn't. Because it was all of a sudden. Well, honestly, here's the thing. I think Brian Flores and the defense in Pittsburgh figured out clog up the middle. That's what they're passing. And Tua, he was rusty. He was. After 3 weeks off, he was a little off. Look, it's normal. I think it's okay.
I guess my point is it's just there was nothing unexpected and there was nothing like over expected. It was just kind of like, this is. Yeah, he did well. He probably had some rust. They won the game. Meaning it wasn't like 45-3 Dolphins.
No,
right?
No.
And it wasn't like it's close, but it wasn't like Steelers win. To me it was just like, okay, Tua's back. They won.
And some upside for me just as a team is the fact that we had, for the first time, we had 2 more sacks, we had 3 picks. Again, I know it's the Steelers. I get it. Believe me, I'm not I'm not banking on this going forward, but we have the Lions and the Bears. No offense to the Patriots, but we have the Lions and the Bears and the Texans coming up. So it's not like we're facing, a monstrous row of
the Bears have an all-world quarterback, if you weren't watching last night.
Oh my God. Well, I'll have a bit to say about that later, but yeah, it's, oh my God. What? I don't know, man.
All right. Anyway. So getting into Mac Jones, I'm going to be really honest with you. I wasn't opposed to the quick hook. And Belichick's playing it off like it was kind of part of the plan all along. Maybe they were trying to limit his usage and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I don't think I'm really buying it. But here's my thing is that Mac Jones, was he good for us last year? Yes, he was. He was. Was he phenomenal? No, I don't think so. I think he was just above a good quarterback, like just above average, just above good. And coming into this year, I pulled up his stats earlier. I forget what they were, but coming in his first 3 games this year were 220 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, like every time. 240 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception every time. And so
that makes a Pro Bowl on the NFC side right now. So, I mean,
so even the games that he started this year, like the beginning of the year, I was like, oh, come on, like it was like, come on, offense, like here we, like pulling teeth. And so,
Is that him? Is that him, or is that the play calling? And
listen, I don't care, because all of a sudden you call it what it is. All of a sudden you put Bailey Zappi in, Zappi Mania comes in, and listen, like everything just got energized, and all of a sudden we're putting up 30 points a game, and like and the defense is just unbelievable, and there's just energy, right? And
there's legacy for the Patriots to do that when we had Brady.
And so
come back,
my point is that like maybe like, again, was Mac Jones good? Is he a good quarterback? Yeah, like, I'm not taking anything away from him, but I think we were a little quick, perhaps, to crown him as sort of the next ruler of the dynasty, because we're so because ever since we lost Tom Brady, we've been like, who's it going to be? Who's it going to be?
Yeah,
like we're dying for somebody.
2 words, Dan Marino. We're still waiting. 30 years, 25 years later. So.
And so I think we were a little quick to put the crown onto Mac Jones. And listen, he only played 1 year. And so to me, 1 year of work, I don't know, it doesn't earn you, hey, it's your job when you come back. Especially when his performance in the first 3 games wasn't. Now, it'd be different if the first 3 games, he was putting up at least 250 to 300 yards a game with 2 touchdowns to 3 touchdowns a game.
Right.
I would feel differently. But I mean,
I will say though, the Devonta Parker and your other wide receivers they do come alive.
They come alive
when Zappi is there.
Those 2 catches, Jacoby Myers' catch was like.
Myers was like
that's spun around and like
that's an NFL catch right there. That is,
and then Devontae Parker had like 400 hands above him, and like. By the way,
that was vintage Devontae when he was with the Dolphins. He literally would fight for 3, the safety and the cornerback or have an interception, and he got the ball somehow. That's Devontae.
So that actually gets into my what I'm experiencing right now, my Zappy Hour hangover. So it's like Zappy Hour. So listen, I'll be honest. The game started and Mac Jones looked like shit, and I was like,
that interception he threw. I was like, what?
Yeah, and I was like, I was like, get him out. I don't want to watch this. I don't like. If you brought him back too early, fine. Like don't like. I don't want the excuse of, oh well, I'm nursing the leg or whatever. I don't want the excuse.
You know what I did? I put my phone on vibrate after that interception. I didn't want you to text me. And further, I literally flipped the phone around and put it on DVR, and I put on Bachelor in Paradise to tell you how desperate I was to get away from my mindset of watching this destruction from the Bears to the. I felt so bad for you that I said, "Oh my God, I can't."
But
watch
here,
this.
right?
I felt guilty.
So here's the kicker, right? So Zappy comes in, and it's like 3 plays, touchdown, and it's like, oh, yes, where it's like Zappy Hour, here we go, and then like next possession, like bomb to Devontae Parker, Ramondre Stevens runs it in, we take the lead, and it's like Zappy Hour started with like 4 shots of absinthe.
Yeah. Well,
and then
Jaeger or something.
And then I just ended up throwing up on myself before the night was over.
Well, that's Jaeger.
And so the most frustrating part to me is that it's not even the quarterback situation. It was the defense. Like, we shut out the Lions, who've been putting up unworldly numbers on everyone. And then we hold the Browns to like 15. And so going into the game, I was like, we're going to win. We were like 8.5 point favorites. I was like, I thought like 20 to
10.
10, yeah, something like that. 20 to 10, 21 to 10, something like that, right? I thought our defense was going to play extremely well and we win by more than a touchdown, but it's still going to be low scoring. And as we've proven before, we can't predict anything on this show.
This is the theme of my week. I'm calling it upside down world this week. It's literally upside down world. Which we'll get into. But listen, Fields
looked like an absolute Hall of Fame quarterback.
The next benching though was interesting. A similar benching to Mac Jones was Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
So what do you think of that?
Well, I mean, I'd say unsimilarly in the fact that like this is just like he didn't miss time. He's just been awful, and the Colts were just like, bye.
Yeah. But you know what, Matt Ryan. I think by reputation alone, though, I think he. I don't think he's done. I don't think we've seen the last of him. Frankly.
Okay.
I think. I mean, if he's willing to fight to be second string he's going to be a third string anywhere he goes from now on, I think. But if he's
third
to fight to be
third, not second.
Well, I think even second, maybe with the Lions or the Texans or the Jags or something like that. But I think he is an emergency quarterback. He's actually, to me, I'll take Matt Ryan before I put in another second of Teddy Bridgewater. I'll tell you that. And I think Matt Ryan just needs to be told what to do. Yeah. I think what they expected with him, that he was a top tier quarterback with his own, and that he needs to be told what to do. And he
definitely had very high expectations.
No, he was insane. Yeah. He was like, short of Russell Wilson territory. He was supposed to be, the pocket, stud and that, to lead the team. And I think he needs strong hand at coaching, in my opinion. And I think so. I think someone with a strong coach that could be a backup quarterback, an emergency fill-in, I think he can do with a system that he can just follow the color by numbers type of program, the plays. Whereas he can't improvise. He's not going to be any of those top tier quarterbacks that just, the Jackson can just manufacture something magical out of nothing. He's not that guy. So I do think that he will land somewhere. He's not going to be done. I don't think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's not going anywhere this year anyway.
Well, yeah, and the contract side. I mean, he should be like, his wife should stop spending money right now and just kind of put it in the bank for a college fund or whatever. I'm not sure how long he's in for this life, but in the NFL. But
I don't know. It's a tricky one to me. I mean, he's 37 years old. And we're all see the thing is we're getting spoiled with Tom Brady, and we're all like, oh, 37, that's nothing. It's like, and it's like, no, 37 is pretty damn old in the NFL, right? And so I also
Ryan Fitzpatrick, Matt can be a bad version of Ryan Fitzpatrick for someone if he wants to be beaten up again for another year or two, I think.
Well, I mean, and that's the thing with, that's my hat goes off to Ryan Fitzpatrick, because he just kind of said, like, he was able to sort of check the ego at the door, right? And that's what made him the cult hero that he was that he had no ego, and he was just like, yeah, I'll be your backup, and I'll be awesome.
It was also the beard. Come on.
And his outfits that he wore. Yeah,
his outfit. Yeah,
he seems like a good time.
That's very, very Jonah Bayless like. He would be someone you would definitely be drinking beer with.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, he seems like a good time. But
have you seen him, by the way, in the commentary on Amazon Prime?
Yeah.
He's pretty good, right? He's kind of like, oh, it's my turn. Okay. Anyway, it's like the least smooth, which I like with authenticity.
But he owns it. Totally. So very to the same point, he puts his ego aside, and he's not trying to be like the greatest ever. Like,
he's opposite, like we mentioned last week. He's the opposite of Russell Wilson, that seems to be prepackaged or something, or manufactured in some way.
He's authentic, right?
Yeah,
and like that's like the buzzword of today, right? Is like authenticity, like blah blah. So anyway, getting back to Matt Ryan, I do question whether or not he can whether or not he can do that, whether or not he can put the ego aside and say, yeah, I will be your backup after being such a prolific starter for such a long time.
Yeah, but
I don't. Maybe he can. I have no idea.
Yeah, it's a 2-year discussion for him. Him, he has to deal with it. He, that's going to be every quarterback at the end of his career. Like, how's Joe Flacco?
Is he?
I mean, that's just like but think about that, right? But again, they had a momentary season that they were just like, oh my god, and all of a sudden they've been riding that coattail for a decade. Still getting paychecks. So I think that's
very true.
But let me go back to Mac Jones. I think Mac Jones, as an outsider, someone who doesn't wish him well for his team or anything nearly that, because obviously it impacts the Dolphins. Mac Jones is a quarterback I wasn't looking forward to ever facing. I think Mac Jones, this huge type of like instant like vitriol towards him. It's confusing. I'm not saying that Zapier hadn't been, he was almost, Zapier reminds me of when, what's his name? Lynn Sanity, when the Knicks had that guy Lynn for a minute, and he was like, he couldn't. He walked in and he checked into the game. Everyone went crazy.
The level. Let me put it this way: the level of mania around Zappy scares me.
Yeah, it's
right. It's
not sustainable.
It speaks to flash in the pan. It speaks to just
that's my worry. Also, the consistency issue with young quarterbacks is always the thing. They can have a great quarter, even a great game or two. How do they do that week in, week out? That's what separates the greats, right? And so for me, Mac Jones, remains a quarterback with tremendous upside. And he's a young guy, right? So
He's young, yeah.
Yeah, I think, look, is he worse than Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, someone named Davis Mills for the Texans? I mean, is he better? I mean, is he worse than the 22 version of Russell Wilson? I don't think so. I think
I'm gonna be very honest with you. You put him in that offense with the Broncos, and I think he might be
worse than Russell Wilson. Okay.
Yes.
That's fair. I mean, I'm asking questions. I mean, I'm asking. Yeah. I don't think he answers no.
You know what scares me? You know what scares me, RPF, honestly, is of all those questions that you just asked me, I can't definitively say that he's better than them.
I think he's better than Trevor Lawrence. I think he makes better choices than Trevor Lawrence. Last night notwithstanding, which was just, I couldn't even explain that to anybody. But I'm just my opinion. But I think if he's able to, his agent better be talking to the Steelers or somebody, because he's not worse than Trubisky. I mean,
so that would be a good spot. So obviously, we're getting way down the rabbit hole if we're starting talking about trades and everything. But
yeah.
But when you were saying, is he better than these quarterbacks, like physically, talent wise? I don't know that he is. What he does have is Bill Belichick in a great system. So a place like. I'm
arguing the opposite.
Oh, no
I think
way.
He's not in the right. I don't think he's the right fit in that. Bill Belichick makes people do his system. He needs somebody like McDaniel's doing with Tua to alter the system for the quarterback, and that's what Mac Jones doesn't have. I think he should be a better fit somewhere else. I think. I'm not saying.
Fine.
They're both right.
I'm saying. Yeah, fine. I'm saying he's still the element he still needs. I guess much like we were saying with Matt Ryan, the element he still needs is really good coaching. He can't go somewhere. He can't go somewhere and just be the answer.
No, I 100% agree.
Yeah,
he's not Lamar Jackson. He's not going to be that guy. That kind of right. He definitely needs structure, but that structure is not fitting right with Belichick. So he has to go find who that is. It could be someone like a Pittsburgh Steeler, coach that says, "Okay, what are your strengths here?" And then they kind of modify it because now they're kind of they themselves need a blank canvas to fix what they have going for them. So
he's just too cautious for me. That's all. He doesn't take any risks.
Let's move on.
Okay,
let's talk about the real fun quarterbacks, like the serial killer.
Okay, all right, hang on. So we did this last week with the New York, all the New York football teams, right? So. What if preseason, RPF, I told you that Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, and Tom Brady were going to be the three worst quarterbacks in the NFL?
I would ask for a new co-host for Sports, of course. I would say this is a science fiction edition of Sports, of course. Yeah, this is like what the F edition of. I would say, as much as I would wish that to be true, you're full of shit. And here we are.
I
will say this is the weird part. I don't like, by any standards, Aaron Rodgers, as we've all established.
Right.
After the hundreds of stories you've said how awful he is, you convinced me to hate him. That's
right. It's my fault.
Exactly. It's totally your fault. Nothing to do with the fact that he's an asshole to everyone he's ever met, that he's completely writing a manifesto in his cabin in the woods. He hasn't showered since George W. Bush was president. All of that is not a factor. I'm just saying that Tom Brady I'm never a fan. I can respect the GOAT always.
Right.
Hats off. But he's the leader quarterback for my least favorite team opposing my favorite team. So he's never been a favorite of mine. And Russell Wilson's always been like to me, NYC bound with this slick life and with expectation of himself. So all those three were not registering as people I cared about. So sure enough, they're having terrible years. I mean, for different reasons. And it's not even, by the way, they're not the worst quarterbacks in the NFL, which I know a lot of people are saying. But from the expectation to the delivery, it's been the biggest gap, right? So to me, I don't feel good about it in a weird way. I feel that it's a bit like I feel about the political climate in this country. That it's unsettling to have this division. I mean, when Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady are not great enough to hate, I'm like, what? Who am I hating? Yeah. I need to have someone to. I'm going to hate. Trubisky or something. You can't hate. You have to go after the top of the game, and these guys right now are not playing that.
Yeah, I mean, I think kind of like to what you're saying. Like, part of me is it's just like sad. It's like I maybe in a way, like, is it sad because we're like, are we witnessing like the dying of an era? Like, this is like.
But here's the thing:
like Tom Brady was pathetic.
he was bad. Oh, we can talk about that for 1 second.
we will. We will.
I mean, we can talk about that.
But it was just like, So on the other side of what you're saying, like, I'm obviously a huge Tom Brady fan because he was our guy for 900 years. And, we had all this success with him.
Every single NFL fan would trade those years 100% of the time with any quarterback they had.
And so I still root for him. And so I'm still a big fan. I like watching the excellence. And it's like, I am so like fed up with turning on Bucs games. I'm like, like, especially, you remember I had this game circled right on our last week's episode of Games to Watch. I was like, hey, because I need to see if they get right. I need to see.
We said they have to win 31-10 and then all's right with the world. Wow.
Right. They need to need to blow out the Panthers and I'll feel better. Well, guess what? The Panthers blew them out. The Panthers
without
Christian McCaffrey and a third string quarterback beat them.
I think he was still driving UPS trucks this Monday. I think that's what they do.
Beat them 21-3.
Beat them down.
3.
No, yeah. I'll put it to you a different way. They can't beat the Georgia Bulldogs that badly. Okay? This Jaguars team. I mean, this Panther team cannot beat the other cat. They cannot beat the Georgia Bulldogs that badly.
And then Aaron Rodgers is getting taken out by our beloved Commanders.
I literally was kind of rooting for the Commanders. So I said, first of all, it just took me a year to not call them the Commandeers for some reason. I'm not sure what's going on with that. And by the way, as an editor-in-chief, I should actually know there's 1 or 2 E's in Commanders, but it was just the Commandeers. I find it more jaunty. Anyway, it makes slightly more sense to me than the Commanders. But I will say this. But here's the upside for all the despondent millions of fans that we have that are screaming right now at the podcast. We can only be this aggressive and mock them so much because we both know the truth. Here's the truth. One breakout Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers game, and people go, okay, they're back.
Yep.
It's not the same thing for, case in point, last night, Justin Fields. We know for a fact that does not happen again all season. I mean, that's just Justin Fields acting to be an actual NFL quarterback. Whereas
you had to go back there, didn't you?
No, I'm just saying, when Justin Fields has a game, no one's saying, well, there he is. No, they're saying, could he do that again, ever? Whereas, think about it. Russell Wilson, let's say for a moment, has 2 2-minute drives in the 2 next weeks and they win the game. That's Russell Wilson. That's his brand. He comes back from the last 2-minute drive. Aaron Rodgers does a Hail Mary. He finds, he drops a dime, a 40-yard pass. That's what they do, right? And Brady all of a sudden finds his tight end, which he hasn't, and he's been great between the 20s, but how, let's see, he snaps out of it and all of a sudden becomes Tom Brady. No one's going to be surprised.
Right.
The surprise is the reverse of that, meaning Justin Fields and, all the other, quarterbacks.
Right. So let me ask you this: of those, so let's take the big 3 right there that we've been talking about: Wilson, Brady, and Rodgers. Of those 3, which one still holds the best chance to make the playoffs?
Brady has the most weapons. Who's not using them.
Yeah.
Rodgers has no weapons, and doesn't seem to care to be using anybody. Wilson is really just a surprise to me, even though I predicted he'd be 9-8 season. I think he's well on his way to be 9-8 out of the playoffs. I think between Rodgers, I think Tom Brady has the. I think so.
I think so. And not only does he have the weapons, I mean, the division is just awful.
Yes, the division. I'm saying he's playing in the one division that he could actually be an off year and still kind of.
I did a little, I nerd out every now and then. I did a little stat digging earlier, and
more now than then. But yeah,
I did a little stat digging earlier, and point differential, right? So points scored versus points given up per team. The NFC South is the only division that every single team I should put it this way, no team in that division has a positive point differential.
Wow.
It's like they're all red.
And up until last night, the AFC East was the division that all the teams had a point differential in their favor.
And so sticking with point differentials. So so the NFC South, they were all red. I was just scrolling through, and the whole division was just red, and I was like, oh my god.
And the minus red. Yeah.
And then so the second highest point differential was like 51, I think, and I forget who it was, but it was like 51. The first place, the Bills, 95.
Wow. And somehow Miami Dolphins beat them. Like,
yeah, right.
I'll take it.
Yeah,
I'll take it. Wow.
Sure.
By the way, if the Dolphins don't beat them, that game, very easy conversation about they could possibly go undefeated the whole season.
Sure.
You know? Because they look for reals for sure.
Yeah. Wait, let's take a look ahead at the games we got coming up. I've got this coming weekend. We've got two games on here. I got Bucs Ravens and Bills Packers, and I got them both noted as these were supposed to be like,
I think,
marquee matchups. Like they had Bills Packers playing the night game, and NFL schedulers were like drooling when this one came out. They're like, oh my god, week 8, we're gonna have Bills Packers, and they're like, oh, this is gonna be phenomenal. And now I'm like,
Super Bowl preview.
Yeah, Super Bowl preview. And I'm like, no, the Bills are gonna destroy them.
I think 42-3 sounds good to me. It's kind of like a,
and just so we're clear, all you Packers fans, you're welcome, because that probably means if we predicted it, it's probably not going to happen.
Murphy's Law, or now, as it's known, RPF and Jonah's Law. It's like whatever we say, By the way, the
SOC
Republicans
law.
are sure to sweep Congress in these midterm elections. I'm sure those caring GOP members that care about the little people are going to go out there and win the Congress back with the anyway. But I digress. Bucs Ravens. I'm going to go against the grain and say that's going to be a great game. I hope Brady, so. I think Tom Brady and Lamar, and Jackson are going to both play well. I think it's going to be a really good game, and I think it's going to be the Bucs might eke that one out. Let
me say this. When I say I hope so, it means I hope Tom Brady shows up.
Yeah.
I got the Ravens from this point forward, and until I see otherwise.
Yeah,
I'm expecting blowouts of the Bucs. Maybe
but
not
this
blowouts,
is the thing. I want to be clear for people who are casual fans of football. If you look at Tom Brady's stats, he's in the middle of the pack in the quarterbacks.
He's in the middle.
But that's not Tom Brady.
But
right?
that's not Tom Brady.
That's my point. The expectation is so much higher, and not only that, when it's crunch time, when it's 3rd and 7 to win the game or not, he has not delivered. When it's like 1st and goal, he doesn't deliver. So that's the part those stats are hidden in the numbers. But that's what we expect.
Right.
At least 2 out of 3 times Brady will come through, because how could he not? It's Tom Brady. So that's the part that's the disconnect that this year has exposed.
Right.
Maybe he's 45, maybe he's distracted at home, whatever it is, or maybe the weapons aren't paying attention to him and vice versa, but something's off. And
he's got what I think 8 touchdowns total through 7 games,
which is 2 more than he had at home this past offseason, just to let you know.
And then
come on, that's vaguely funny. You have to give me that. Come on, Giselle had a better defense than the defenses he's been facing. That's pretty good.
But
I digress again.
Yeah, I was talking about this the other night. I got to be Team Giselle. I just can't imagine Tom Brady's very fun. It's just
have we not seen his documentaries and stuff? He's literally the opposite of fun. He makes Peyton Manning warm and fuzzy. Come on. It's like, no, thank you.
Yeah. But anyway, I don't want to digress into that stuff. So
it's a different podcast.
Yeah. He only has 8 touchdowns. He's basically a touchdown a game, which is absurdly low for him. And then this is the first time since, I think they said 2001, that he's been sub 500 through week 7.
Yeah.
He's
never had adversity before at this part of the season. So that's going to be interesting to see if he gets mad at himself, and that, if he gets his voice gets higher pitched as he does.
Right.
And he's trying to high five guys who just walk by him, which favorite video of all time.
Yeah.
Hey, hi. Anyway, please Google that. On YouTube, it's fabulous. When he's just trying to high five people, and people walk right by him. It's at the height of Tom Brady-ness, which is very funny. Yeah. Anyway, so I think we're spending I think we're overly analyzing a little bit, even though it's been week after week now. I don't know. I just feel that Brady's gonna like snap it to attention. He has to. I mean, if he doesn't, then the world's really upside down. So
Yeah.
let's move on.
All right. To be honest, the week ahead didn't look all that great. I've only really got 3 games personally that jump out to me. Patriots, Jets. And the only reason I have it circled as a Patriots fan is because for the first time in a long time, I'm actually scared. Like
I think the Patriots are going to win. I really do.
I mean, I hope so.
I think they have 10 points
but
just by history. Just history will give them 10 points that they don't even have yet. So I think it's going to be a close game. But they could win in the last quarter. I think the Patriots will snap back.
Yeah.
And this is in New York, or do we know?
It's in New York.
Okay.
It's in New York. Yep.
All right.
And then I have Niners Rams, which is intriguing. They find themselves kind of battling right for the middle of that division over there.
But I think this is a determinative game. I think we can circle this game looking back.
Right.
In the sense that whatever team emerges as as the clear victor here will take ownership of that division, I think.
Yeah. And then I had Seahawks Giants, and I had it circled because Seahawks are in first place. Quite.
Seahawks are favored to win at home, which that's never been a controversial statement ever since I've been alive. But I'm not buying it. I think the boys in blue don't like to lose, and
they don't. They had another come from behind win. Another
I watched
one.
it. I was like, first of all, I don't remember the last time I watched 4 back-to-back Giants games. I was like, and actually interested in watching that. And I was like, go guys, come on, let's go.
Yeah.
And sure enough, we got this.
We got it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, Seahawks fans, the 12th man, the 12th. I don't know.
It'll be a good game.
A good game. I think it'll be a good game.
I do.
I agree.
But that's all I had. There wasn't a whole lot else out there for me.
Look, I'll say this. I think the Bills Packers was the game everyone circled, as you mentioned. I don't think just for one moment, again, a little bit like the 10-point spot that I'm giving the Patriots over the Jets. Aaron Rodgers' ego, it could be flickering in there somewhere. All this talk about he's over, he's done, the Packers are toast. Josh Allen is like way better than all that. In his quiet manifesto brain of his, I think he may just make it interesting. I do think the Bills ultimately win. I don't think it's going to be as easy as that. I'm thinking 34-24 in that range, but I think he's going to find himself and still realize he doesn't have enough weapons to compete with the Bills at home for sure. But I think ultimately I wouldn't be sleeping entirely if I was a Bills fan.
No. Well, you never can.
You can't.
Right, you never can.
And by the way, the Dolphins play the Packers at home on Christmas Day, and that's going to be either the best Christmas ever, or like I hate this holiday forever because I cannot lose. We cannot lose to Aaron Manifesto Rodgers. I can't.
In Miami though.
In Miami.
Yeah.
Well. Hopefully he'll be on South Beach on Christmas Eve, like partying up with whomever he likes to party with. They're all there, so exactly.
whoever you guys are, whoever they are,
they're all different. They're all different situations he can find there if he wants to get distracted and have a long, long, long night there. That's fantastic. Anyway, so
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So moving on. Let's get off football because we've been quarterback heavy, and I'm a little dizzy with the quarterback talk. Right.
Yeah. Okay. Fair.
I feel a little. I feel like almost like I should be on the protocol. It's like, I'm a little wobbly. I mean, the world's upside down. Rodgers. We're discussing Rodgers and Brady as if they're like Trubisky and whomever. What's his face?
Unfortunately, if we're getting off football, it means we're getting into baseball. And it's like
now for the quiet time, now for the sleepy portion of our podcast.
I mean,
who had the Phillies and the Astros? I mean, seriously. By the way, I'll just say this. I don't want to talk about this, but I'll just say this. I think we talked about this. The Dodgers fans must be confused. I don't think they're angry. They're just sad and confused, right? Because how could this happen?
Yeah.
And then you flip that around. The Yankee fans have legit anger issues.
The Janky fans, the Yankee fans have every right to be furious. That was pathetic. The only thing I enjoyed in the entire playoffs up until this point, up until the World Series, the only thing I enjoyed, please go on YouTube and look this up right away, was the Yankee fans greeting of Senator Ted Cruz from Texas in the stadium yesterday. If you haven't seen it,
I'll just say,
I have not.
wow. It is literally, it warms the cockles of my heart, and I'm so proud to be living in the state, in the city, in the state, because it is literally, I mean, better than anyone could ever have imagined. Central casting happened, and it was just, anyway. Besides that, the fact that Yankee bats did not wake up literally until the very end. It was too late.
Aaron Judge was 1 for 16.
Not acceptable. Not
No,
acceptable. Not acceptable.
All.
1 for 4, and you were screaming. I mean,
that is awful. Like it's just abysmal. Like it's pathetic. Yeah, it was really bad. And now
honestly, what it felt like, and it sounds weird and trippy dippy California thing. It needs they needed some sort of life coach or some sort of mental coach, because it was like they start pressing.
They have one.
They do. Okay,
they have one. And you know what
maybe they need a better one.
And you know what he showed them?
What?
He showed them highlights from the 04 Red Sox.
Well, against them, that's traumatic, and that's not helping. That's like a nightmare. I mean, what are you talking about? I know you're scared of the big bad wolf. Let me show you Halloween 7.
Because he was trying to say, if anyone knows about how a team can come back from 3 games, like the Red Sox are one, and we should be the other one. And he was trying to.
Look, I'm sorry, but men are visual creatures. If you see your uniform being like manhandled.
Well, in fairness, I think earlier in the series, I think he showed them the 03 series.
Okay, well, that helped
which didn't work.
No.
Which didn't work. So then he was like, okay.
How about a different movie? How about a different tact entirely? How about a different approach?
Sport.
How about a quiet room with like aromatherapy discussing what scares you? Show me on the doll. No, I'm kidding. No, but the point is, they needed some sort of cleansing, like a saging of the brain or something. Or conversely, a leader that steps up there and gives them a big poppy, like, we're the effing Red Sox, and we're the effing, who's that guy? I mean, not that I heard it. Maybe there was somebody there doing that, but Aaron Judge has the gravitas and the numbers to be that guy. Is that his personality? Not apparently.
I don't think so. Yeah, and that's what I was just gonna say is, yes, he's got the numbers, but I just don't think he's that person. Like I think he found himself in the ALCS, in the bright lights of New York City in the ALCS were just way too big.
Yeah. And conversely, let's flip it around to the Phillies, right? The Phillies were 3 games away from not making the playoffs at all. They had 3 more bad games. And I think they won 87 games or something. It was ridiculous. The lowest total in 5 years for people in the playoffs. And here we are. The city of brotherly love is greasing their lampposts because they don't want the crazy fans to destroy everything. So, which, by the way, it's very odd to see people like greasing poles like before a game. Like, what's happening? Sounds like a different movie. But anyway, the point is that
sounds
Brice
like
Harper,
the Giants sideline from last week.
Remember sounds like Times Square in the 70s before your time. So anyway, but I will tell you this. We talked about Brice Harper and how we both had experiences with him, how he was complete, but the word, a fucking dick. So the fact is, this season there was rumblings around the Philly clubhouse and stuff, how this guy is not a team player. He's not a good guy. He's not like hanging out with us and having drinks after a road trip, all that stuff that you have to have in some ways to have a team, right? Because it's still a team sport. And he's gotten paid $300 million, right? So all of a sudden, he's having the worst slump of the year as the season ends. That's why the Phillies were reeling towards the end of the season. They backed into the playoffs, and sure enough, I called it. I said, as Brice Harper goes, the team goes, and sure enough, he snaps out of it, becomes Brice Harper again, wins the NLCS MVP. He's on a tear. The team is flying high. And now everyone's saying, oh, of course he's worth $300 million. Look where we are. And that's right. I think that's actually right in this world economy. But is Brice Harper a good guy? Is he going to be the guy forever? No, I don't think so. But you know what? He could be just good enough to get him to the point where he's going to win the series.
I was massively let down the other night when so we had talked about, we had both met him way back before he's even drafted, and he was just a little cocky dick, and
he was 17 or something.
He was an asshole, right? And then there's just all these. Anyway, I was really holding out hope that he has sort of grown up for all intents and purposes, right? In that he had sort of become someone different and become a leader of men. And the other night, when and he was kind of proving that, he was showing that, and all throughout these playoffs, I was like, oh, okay, he is. The lights are shining on him, and he's saying, I got this, right? And I was like, oh, okay. Oh, he started to change my mind. He had started to change my mind. And the other night, he hits that go-ahead double. He hits a double off the wall to take the lead, and he gets on second base, and he screams, this is my fucking house. What good leader of a team ever uses the word my? It is their house. It is not your house. You didn't even build it.
To quote David Ortiz, this is our house. This is our team. You know.
I was so like let down. And so
that's
like
expected. That's on brand for him.
But no, what I was just saying, like he was starting to turn me. He was keeping his mouth shut, right? And he was just playing, and he was just
even the home run. Sorry, but the home run that he hit, that he looked at the bench at his own team, like, you know.
Yeah,
I told you I'm doing.
And you know what?
It's very me. He's like this.
So
the world revolves around Brice. It's the world of Brice. You know. And by the way, you can argue that's what he needs to be to propel himself.
Yes. To get the numbers, yes. To be, you know, to do what he's doing performance wise, perhaps. But I was watching the game. I was watching that when that happened, and he got to second base, and the camera went in on him. Obviously, you can't hear him, but you know you can just see him go. You know, and he says, "This is my fucking house." And I literally sat up and I was like, "What did he just say?" Like it was just, I was like, "What?"
Wait, is that Mike Schmidt? Who is that out there? Who is that out there?
I was blown away.
Guys, Google Mike Schmidt.
Yeah.
It's worth it. Okay.
I was blown away, and I was just like, and so I think I have to imagine that the rest of his team are like, maybe not right now because the energy and the attention is so high, but deep down they're like, what did he just say?
Fuck you. Okay. They're saying fuck you. Wait, hang on. Is he a captain?
But they'll, I'm by default, right? Like
probably, right? Yeah.
But so like I'm saying, like they'll ride this energy if they need. They'll ride this through the World Series to win it if they need to. But after that, I think they're gonna go. Let's say they do win the World Series. I can't imagine that the rest of the team is going to go in the offseason and go to Maldives and take their vacation. And while they're sitting there on the beach, go, did he really say that? and just be like,
first of all, I like the idea. First of all, you're very fancy. The fact that the Philadelphia Phillies, like these 87 game winning team, are going to go. They even know where the Maldives are, let alone book a flight. I think they're going to the Jersey Shore and drinking beer. This is what I think. People from Philly go to the shore.
Are you saying that you have to have a certain number of team wins in order to go to a certain location for vacation?
Yes, I think the Dodgers know where the Maldives are. I think the Yankees will go to to St. Lucia or something. But that's pretty highfalutin for the Phillies. I think the Phillies maybe go to
fine.
All right. Maybe. Okay. Maybe I'm
fine.
Wrong. Brice Harper is probably going to go to Taco Bell.
Bahamas. We'll just use the Bahamas.
Bahamas. That's a good one. That's Bahamas.
Bahamas is an easy one. Direct flights everywhere.
Cabo. We can go to Cabo. All right. Listen. So let's move on. Because I'm actually.
But here's my problem. Here's my problem with the World Series is I don't want anyone to win now.
Right. I want the Phillies to win because I think it's just. I like the idea of how. Can
we have Harper go 0 for 20 and the Phillies to win?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. All right,
absolutely. In fact, I want him to go. Yeah, let's go 0 for 28, and then I'm calling the Phillies in 6.
Can I selfishly ask for the Phillies to win and for Harper to have zero hand in it?
Yeah,
I just want him to. I want him to know that he is not the answer. They are the answer.
Okay.
He's a massive. Don't get me wrong. He's a massively integral part of that team.
By the way, I haven't seen you this fired up about anything this entire season. I think this is something deeply personal because he actually affected your life.
No. It just has to. It just has to do with the arrogance. Like I'm telling you, it's just singed into my brain.
Brice Harper should be playing tennis. Or should be in a singular sport.
He should be in a singular sport, and he'd be awesome. I'd love it.
Yeah.
if he was in tennis,
that drive, right? That drive is exactly what you need in tennis, right?
Yeah,
that's what you need. Or golf, even.
If he was in tennis, like winning shots and like yelling at people, like I'm the best, I'd be like, this guy's awesome. I'd watch all of it.
Exactly. Yeah. And Russel would, of course, beat him down. And I'll be really happy about that. But yeah, I think.
Imagine having what's his name? Kyrgios.
Nick here. Oh my God, Kyrgios and Brice Harpers. Oh my God, this should be the first tennis match ever to be wearing like helmets because they'll be like going after. They wouldn't care with the ball, but they'd just be slamming the ball into each other.
Just hitting them.
It'd be a bench clearing brawl with like their teams, like their physio and their coach. Anyway, but we're getting way off track here. Okay, Brice Harper. I think my advice to everyone who vaguely likes baseball just tunes in for the World Series. Don't. But I'll say this: DVR every game. Fast forward to the Brice Harper at bats, and then you have all you need to know, essentially. Okay, I'm tired of this baseball.
Okay.
Okay. Let's move on to the next category. Oh, is it? Is it time?
It's time. It's time for this week.
Imagine anyone just tuning in for the first time and they're watching us do this for some reason. Like we're like broccoli growing in the garden.
Can we make this the screenshot for our Instagram post?
No, I'm not doing that.
All right, it is time for This Weekend. RPF, I had a really hard time this week coming up with something.
Clearly, you're all charged up. The Patriots are going down. Brice Harper's going up. You're like, what's happening in this world?
Originally, my was my Patriots defense and just their lack thereof, but I didn't want to use that as a cop out. And so then I went to the next most Patriot thing, which is Tom Brady, but more specifically. Obviously, he's not doing well. But more specifically, he had this one moment. The Bucs had this one moment where they were first and goal. First.
I know this moment.
First and goal. And it was like a JV Sandlot team, like drawing up plays in the dirt, like, okay, you run this way. But like everyone heard the wrong thing. And like, the three following plays were just not even close.
We'll say how it was. Here's the thing. You can not make first and goal and just have to kick a field goal. That's not the issue, really, even though it is. But Tom Brady didn't do something that I'd never seen him do in that sequence you're talking about. The game was so close. It was competitive. Yep. If he had scored the touchdown, it would have been like down by 4 or something. So it was definitely in play. All of a sudden,
big moment.
Tom Brady, first down and goal from the 6 or something. He literally bounces the ball to the receiver 4 yards in front of him. It was what? Something I would do, right? Proudly, Where
the new bounce pass rule in the NFL.
Second down, at the toes of the receiver, and Brady screaming, barking at somebody. I'm like, dude, mirror, what the fuck, And then the third play bounced 2.5 yards in front of the receiver. I'm like. Like he's playing like shortstop drills in baseball when it's like football. I mean, what sport are you playing, dude? I was like, that's when I felt he's 45.
Yeah.
45. That's what it felt like. Because he had protection. He had vaguely open receivers, and he didn't deliver. That's not Tom Brady ever.
And
so anyway, that's a very big
That's what scares me as a football fan is that
he's mortal.
Yeah. Well, is that we are seeing like
it might be that's why some quarterbacks, aka my beloved Dan Marino. By the way, I was thinking about this just when I was watching that sequence. How lucky we are as Dolphins fans. I mean, obviously to have Dan Marino for whatever it was, 18 years or whatever, of playing just lights out quarterback. His last game was one of the saddest things I've ever seen. It was like a 63-17 loss to the Tennessee Titans or Jaguars or someone of these fucking teams I hate. Anyway, it was like 6 interceptions. It was just the worst thing I've ever seen. And it was a playoff game. It was the first round of the wild card, and we lost it terribly. He had a choice. Jimmy Johnson was coming in as coach. Didn't think he was the answer going forward. So anyway, the choice was: do I retire? Do I go to a different team that were offering? Imagine 5 teams were clamoring for Dan Marino. And he said no. He goes, I'm a Dolphin. And that to me, we never had to go through that process of cheering for like the Carolina Panthers because Dan Marino was a Panther all of a sudden, or like worse, like a Jet or something horrible.
Right.
So because Dan Marino is in our, we get attached to these quarterbacks as if they're part of our family.
Yes,
they are. We feel everything anyway. So that he spared us that, and it was to his own detriment. He would have gotten 10 million, 20 million more if he just stayed for a few years, and he didn't have to retire, but he did because he said, "I knew it was time." And I don't know if Tom Brady has that internal clock, or the ego lets him be. He's looking back. The throwback Thursday Tom Brady cannot be what he expects to be going forward. So we need to figure this out for him this year, because he doesn't deliver this year.
Yeah.
It's time. Right. It's time to.
We have right, and it goes into what we were mentioning earlier. We have the year to watch. I'm not ready. I'm not ready to say it's over yet. But listen, if this continues, man, I agree.
I agree with you. My this weekend, is how in basketball, just to this is a sports podcast. We should mention the fact that NBA started this week.
This is the one that actually does have the bounce pass, right?
This has the bounce pass.
Okay.
And again, to remind everyone, I'm a Miami Heat fan, and Miami Heat last year was like a point away from defeating the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals to go to the finals, and we were just so the team was, just to remind everyone, was everyone was saying dismantle everybody, get rid of everybody, just get Kevin Durant and a Bible, and we should be fine. First of all, we should get Kevin Durant and a vaccine doctor. But anyway, the point is that Durant stayed with Brooklyn. The team stayed intact. In fact, we signed Tyler Hero for a massive contract, which he well deserved. Anyway, all the elements were together. We're going to be even that much more united and just go forward better. And we opened the season with 4 games at home, which never happens. We're 1-3. So the panic alarm, as you can imagine, has been hit tremendously. Mm-hmm. Kyle Lowry, first game couldn't find, he had 15 turnovers or something, and he had couldn't find the basket. Anyway, again, everyone just calm down. It's the first week of basketball. Okay. So anyway, I just want to say that's in relation to Tulane Green Wave, I've been talking about week after week after week. Tulane Green Wave keeps rolling. The Green Wave won again.
They won again. I saw Richard RPF. You realize you now have me following Tulane Green Wave. I texted you during the game. You did.
Tell me they're not fun to watch, though. I mean, first of all, I thought, as we mentioned, it's a loose follow.
It's a loose follow.
Yulman Stadium on campus, beautiful.
At this point, it's a loose follow. I'm not watching games yet.
No, I understand they're not quite Patriots level yet. But Zappy Hour still takes precedence.
But I'll tell you what, we might have to get together for a bowl party if.
And let me tell you, I mean, I'm going to the Guacamole Bowl in El Paso for sure, or wherever it is. The thing is, the Tulane's heading for a bowl almost certainly.
Yeah, at this point, 7-1, right?
7-1, 7-1, and the Heat are 1-3. So again, to continue my theme of upside down world in the sports arena, that's certainly for my teams. So that's my this week in I love the fact that this is a sports podcast, and I mentioned Tulane Green Wave 3 weeks in a row, legitimately. Now we're number 23. We went from number 25. We're 23 now.
Ooh, in the ranking. Man,
moving on up, baby. It's all good.
Moving on up. Okay. All right.
What's next?
I don't know. We're on to RPF right now. Are we not?
Oh.
Or was that it? Or do we lump
No. Right now, it's a whole different thing. So once again, the biggest world event, the World Cup, the FIFA World Cup, comes up in a month. Which, by the way, it's going to be very strange. Like from Thanksgiving to Christmas is the FIFA World Cup, because Qatar, as you may know, is the host country, and Qatar is as pleasant in the summer as the devil's ass. It's 150 degrees or something. So, speaking of the devil's ass, the government of Qatar. It's going to provide a very challenging time for athletes and fans of the world's most beautiful sport, right? It's going to be literally every athletic fan eyeball will be on that country. And that country, I want you guys, I'm sure there's the 3 fans from Qatar, they'll be offended, but from my opinion, for a host country, how FIFA even entered them into the lottery to win a host when they literally, by definition, are oppressing millions upon millions of potential fans and spectators just because who they are or what they do or how they behave at a bar or It's not acceptable to me. FIFA has to have a responsibility to unify the world. That's what they always claim.
Yeah.
Sports unifies outside of politics. So why not go
and
to
soccer's the biggest sport in the
soccer's
world.
the biggest sport
Right.
in the world, that we can all agree, let's put everything aside for a minute, let's watch this beautiful sport, right? And I think that's done with 98% of the country possibilities to host a FIFA World Cup. And but Qatar, what they do have is what? Oil money. So they have all the money in the world, to the point where I'm so disappointed that David Beckham, was out talking, for Fox Sports, who's going to be televising in the U.S. the FIFA World Cup. He's promoting it as well. Look, I understand outside, I get it, all that, but when you have people incarcerated for doing nothing else but just being themselves and wanting to watch their team win, I think we have a problem. I predict, sadly, that this World Cup will be known for something other than who won, what country won. I'm hoping I'm wrong, but let's keep an eye out on that.
So I'm unfamiliar with the scenario, the situation. So what are the people getting incarcerated for?
Putting a litter on the floor, and if you're gay or lesbian, anyone LGBTQ, by definition, you're committing a felony. Not even acting on that human emotion, or if being me walking into that country, I'm incarcerated for violation of penal code. I said penal. It's funny. Anyway, so the point is that Qatar has to have a problem. I mean, FIFA has to understand that this is not okay. It could be the same thing. What if the LGBT law was Jews, or was Asian American, or Asians, or it's just what world are we living in? Which, by the way, it takes me a little off topic, but when I mentioned Kanye West in the beginning, what world are we living in that my friends and I feel compelled to support, to write on social media that we support our Jewish friends? What is that? I mean, how is this? What year is this? This is crazy. We support humanity, all humanity. Anyway, the point is that Qatar is going to be. I mean, the World Cup. Let's see how they handle it. I think athletes might be speaking out and different things. So let's see. Some athletes, by the way, some players could actually be incarcerated during the World Cup for speaking out, which is also illegal against the government. Anyway, so we'll see what happens. So that's where we are.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, I'm
back to baseball.
I'm excited. I am excited for some World Cup, though.
I am too. I mean, what's more fun than watching teams a country that you live in, that you love, and to be competing? I mean, that's awesome. That's the best sport. That's why we love, even in golf with the Ryder Cup, when it's the team against, that's fun. That's just like, let's rally on the flag. Let's do it. I'm all in for that. But I'm just concerned that there's going to be problems. We'll see.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, let's get a little lighthearted and get into our lightning round. We've got a continuation of last weekend. Are
we doing the teams?
We're doing last week we did the MLB American League. We're going to go back to the MLB. We're going to do the National League.
Okay.
All right. So we're going to, for those of you who haven't heard this segment yet, I'm going to just list by division. So I'll start with the NL East. I'm just going to list the team names, and we are going to have an open discussion as to which ones are the most ridiculous. Okay. Sounds great. Here we go.
I love it. Let's go. Yeah, by the way, I'm saying okay because I'm trying to think of the names already. But I will tell you, the last two podcasts has been my favorite segment.
It's been fun. All right. All right. We've got the Atlanta Braves, the New York Mets, the Philadelphia Phillies, the Miami Marlins, and the Washington Nationals.
Okay, this is the least creative division entire baseball. Because Phillies from Philly.
Okay, is it? Hang on, my question. This is my question, because when I was looking at this and I was like, wait, what is a Philly? Is it as simple as just like shortening the city name? Like I
think it'd be better.
Like if I'm from Boston, I'm a Bosty.
Right. Well, I'm from Boston. So,
are you a Bosty?
I'm from Cambridge, but I lived in Back Bay.
Are you a Cambie? Like, is that what this is? If I'm from Philly, I'm a Philly. I don't know what a Philly is.
Well,
a female horse.
I think the Philly. I think there'd be better name like steak sandwich. like the Philadelphia steaks. That's like people can appreciate that. Can imagine a big hoagie running around the outfield or something. I can't actually. I think, but the Phillies are from Philadelphia. The Mets are Metropolitans, right?
Right.
They're from New York City. It's such a knee jerk type of old timey.
The Nationals, the Washington
Washington
Nationals,
DC, the capital of the nation.
Yeah.
So it's all kind of like, what? Well, you
Are
can't
the-
get around that.
are the
What's the
Marlins-
national mascot? The mascot is it like the founding fathers? I mean, what's
Well,
actually?
they do have the founding father race.
They do?
The
Okay.
seventh inning. They have, yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know that. I was making fun of that.
Yeah.
But here we go. Okay. So, it's like the Milwaukee Brewers and
Yes,
the
but it's
beer-
found.
yeah.
Yes, it's. I forget which
They
president.
have like Madison and
They
Washington.
have Washington, Roosevelt, Lincoln, and
and Roosevelt. Does he have a wheelchair?
I thought it was.
You
him.
think it's Roosevelt? Wait, Franklin Roosevelt? No, it can't be. Because the
Teddy.
guy with Teddy. Okay,
Teddy Roosevelt.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think.
All right.
I don't know.
Moving on.
I might be wrong.
And then we have the Marlins.
Are-
First of all,
are
I'll
the-
say this: being from Miami, as you know, Miami Marlins. I'm glad they changed the name from Florida Marlins back in the day to Miami Marlins. I think the New England Patriots should be doing that for Boston. But anyway, Miami Marlins. But there's not that many Marlins in the ocean in Miami. I mean, if Miami Trout would be better, like the Miami Snappers or something. Like it's not exactly
that would go well.
It'll be fun, or even better, that's indigenous only to us, the Miami stone crabs.
The Miami what?
Stone crabs. Have you not had a stone crab?
I thought you said stump rats.
Well, that's what? Stump rats. That's not even a thing. No, stone crabs. And that's Joe's Stone Crabs, a very famous restaurant.
Gotcha.
Yeah. All right.
So the Marlins are the only fish in the MLB, yeah? Okay.
That's interesting, right? All right, is that true? We're the only fish?
I think so.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay, but I will say the Dolphins and Marlins, even though they're different species, even though most fans believe the dolphin is actually a fish. It's not. It's a mammal. But anyway, but at least it's in the water, so I think it's some parallel structure there.
All right, moving on. Central, we have the St. Louis Cardinals, the Milwaukee Brewers, the Chicago Cubs, the Pittsburgh Pirates, and the Cincinnati Reds.
Okay, first of all,
I got a couple.
We talked about the Pirates.
The Pirates, right?
That has to be. I mean, we talked about this a little bit.
The infamous Pirates of the Erie Canal.
Exactly. Right. Where they all converge in the three rivers, and they have it. They rape and pillage.
Everybody knows the story of how
Arrgh, Pittsburgh. It's like that exactly off the top. That the Pirates of Pittsburgh would not be the sequel to the Caribbean. Right. So I think that's gonna be a no-brainer. Even though I had to give it to them a little bit for the alliteration. Pittsburgh Pirates.
Right.
I mean, it could be Pittsburgh Pyromaniacs or something. It wouldn't be as good, right? It would be a little bit more problematic. But I will say that the Reds, what? Are they communist? I don't understand what Reds mean exactly. In my day, meaning from 1912, when you were a Red, you were not something good. You were something you were a sympathizer of the Communist Party, which I don't believe that the Cincinnati Reds had that intention. So I don't understand what the Reds mean. Maybe I should have more history or context. I don't know what the Reds mean.
Agreed.
Maybe the shortened term for something else, like the Red Machine.
I mean, obviously the coolest one in here, and probably maybe the coolest one in sports is the Brewers.
Brewers is actually straight up on brand.
Milwaukee.
First of all, Milwaukee. The fact that they have a baseball team at all, it's like Milwaukee. I mean, what's next? Like Tulsa and Gary, Indiana. So, but Milwaukee, good for you. Good on you. All right. But further than that, they have the right name. I mean, who's not going to want to have a brewski during the game? Who's going to be celebrating? Who's not going to be celebrating that? I think that's a very good name. I think you're right.
Here's my question: how do the Chicago Cubs feel about being
the baby to the Bears?
The baby to the Chicago Bears.
It's like Yogi and Boo Boo. It's like Yogi. It's like the Yogi and Boo Boo.
It's thing. Like over here we have the Bears, and we are gonna murder you, and then we have
the Cubs. Hi, Dad. I would be alarmed if I was a Cub fan. I would be like, why are we not the best? It should be the Grizzlies, right? It should be something else.
Let's be honest. How many Bears are in downtown Chicago?
Certain bars, I can tell you. certain neighborhoods, I can tell you.
Got it.
Funny, I will say one thing. The Chicago Cubs, Wrigley Field is actually in that neighborhood. So it's very interesting, kind of a joke that is ongoing for decades now about the neighborhood bars around Wrigley Field.
Wrigleyville?
And the
Look, that place is awesome.
Yeah, but the neighborhood is very, very festive, shall we say, in bars. So it's a very so the Cubs, I will give them minor points for that kind of unintended cleverness. But I will say, I would not want to be the stepbrother or kid to my parent, nickname rival. Follow team. Anyway, the Cubs and Bears should not be together.
Right? All right, last one: Los Angeles Dodgers, San Diego Padres, San Francisco Giants, Arizona Diamondbacks. Blank for a second there. Arizona Diamondbacks. I almost said Cardinals. I was like, it's not them. Arizona Diamondbacks and the Colorado Rockies.
Okay.
Colorado Rockies. Come on, let's go.
It's okay. It's like that's where it is. Thanks. So geography wins for Colorado. That's fine. Padres, I'll say it straight up racist. I don't understand. What the F? Padres? Honestly, I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. I don't even know. I'm going to move on from that, but I don't. Okay. And then Dodgers. What's a Dodger? Did we discuss this already? Dodgeball champion?
I don't know, but you have to keep in mind, right? So
I like their logo. I like their uniform.
I was trying to think of what a Dodger is and what the Giant is.
But the Brooklyn Dodgers were first, right?
So that's what I'm saying. Both of them.
Yeah. That's very odd. I don't know what Dodger is.
Yeah.
I have to look it up. I don't know what that is. Okay. Which I'll give them. I'll give them points because they made up for it in their cool in their nice uniforms. I think that's going to be okay. So what's the next one?
There's the Dodgers, the Padres, the Giants.
Yeah, Giants. How many Giants are in San Francisco?
They were New York first too, right?
They were New York Giants too, right? Exactly. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah,
both of those are subplants. The Diamondbacks they're kind of cool. Who's not afraid to death of a Diamondback though? If I'm out in the desert and I come across a Diamondback,
maybe like a Rattler would be better or something.
But that's what that is.
I know, but the name. Thank you, Mr. Wild Kingdom, Jonah. I understand what.
Oh, crikey!
Crikey, right? Exactly. Or something it's better. I'll put it this way: it's better than what I expected, like the cacti or something. So I think it's okay. I think the worst one is Padres to me for cultural reasons and appropriation reasons.
All right. So
but the worst name in baseball is the Pirates. It's ridiculous.
The Pirates. Okay, because I was just going to say, so last week we decided that the worst one was the Royals for the American League.
Yeah, they're both, actually, that's a World Series I like to say. Both your teams are the worst two. Both your Major League experienced teams are your worst nicknames. Wait, is there a pattern here? Wait,
it must be.
Pittsburgh, I'll say next year's World Series, the Pirates and the Royals.
Pirates and the Royals.
Let's lock it in. Let's lock it in.
Right.
All right.
That's it. You know what? I'm done.
Another podcast.
RPF. We're like an hour and 15 into this.
Oh my god!
It's what I think today was my fault because I was a little heated up.
Oh my god! You were all charged up about well, good reason. It's still fresh in your memory from last night. So.
Oh gosh. I'm going to end it right there. This was a great podcast. Thank you so much for listening and potentially watching. If you weren't watching, head over to YouTube. Check us out on our YouTube channel. It is, of course, Sports, of course, with Jonah and RPF. You can find us everywhere podcasts are played. Apple, Spotify, Podbean. We're on Instagram, Twitter, and, of course, our YouTube channels. Just go search Sports, of course, with Jonah and RPF. RPF, my man, another one in the books.
Lions and Dolphins on Sunday. A barn burner. I'll see you next week.
You keep plugging your Dolphins games right at the end. I'm just like,
I know, just to give you a little bit of a reminder. I'm your alarm clock.
Yeah. All right, okay. Lions and Dolphins. Check it out.
1:00 Sunday. Bye.